Okay, we're moving right along. We're reading these notes, and they should reinforce what I've already kind of said in earlier segments. So when C is the 7th flat, down C tune, C is the flat 7th of the key of D. The key equals R equals 2 is the second of a C major scale. So when I say R equals some number, this is going to be a chromatic number. Here's your C scale. Okay, if the lowest playable was E, it would be an E scale. It's going to be a chromatic scale. Okay, the key number is going to be one of those chromatic scale members starting on the lowest playable note. Okay, that doesn't change. The lowest playable note is the lowest playable note. Here C tuned, here E tuned, here D tuned, lowest playable note's a D. Capo on the A. Lowest playable note is an A in this one. Okay, so if the lowest playable note is an A, if we want to play an Ionian, all right, the chromatic scales, the keys, if you play it with a capo on that A, the keys are going to be a chromatic scale off that A. All right, so that's what I mean when I say root equals the key of 6 or root equals the key of 2. It'd be a 2 from the lowest playable note. Another example. Lowest playable note equals the E note equals 7 flat. Same thing, we're over here in this box. Normal guitar tuning. E is the flat 7th of the key of F sharp. Key equals R equals 2 is the second of an E major scale. The key of F sharp. Whoa, messed that up, but that's because I got too much junk on my piano. Okay, so that would be the key of F sharp. Now let's look over here. Lowest playable note equals a G note, capo on the G. G is the flatted 7th of the key of A. We just talked about that. Okay, so that's what some of these notes say up here. Now there's another one. We might want to, kind of wrap our head around this little note. Who knows what it's about? Let's read it. Major minor 7th stripe color. Okay, this is talking about these stripe colors. In each one of these boxes down here. Okay, so this chart isn't done. It's far from done, but the scales that I've done, in each one of the boxes you're going to see a stripe here. Stripes on the 7th. Okay, so let's look at an easy one. Here's Ionian root. So root, Ionian 7th is a major 7th. Okay, the Lydian is also a major 7th. So it would be the 3rd. Alright? So major minor 7th stripe color is the color. What color is this? The color of the modal chord that is formed when the root is replaced by that 7th to make a triad chord. So if we have a C major 7th chord, C, E, G, B, if I leave the root off and just play the 3rd modal, it's not always going to be minor. It's just the 3rd modal. The color of that would be green, because green is the color of my 3rd modal, of my 3rd minor in the key of C. So in this case, with the 5th major, alright, if we leave the 5 off and just play the 7, 2, 4, it's a Locrian triad, which is the third modal in the Mixolydian scale. So therefore it's got the Locrian color. That's my Locrian color, my E color. 7√2, the Locrian scale. That's the name of that tune. So what do we expect to accomplish today? We're going to get familiar with this chart, because this chart is going to take me a week to finish because I'm very busy. But guess what? The wrist has healed, no problem with it. My back got one out, but that's okay. No big deal there. I'm really only finished like the first 3 down here, if not even the first 2 columns. So this is what we're going to be talking about. Now before we do that, I just want to finish talking about Kiner's Corner up here. I'm going to put me over here a minute, and we're going to zoom in. We talked about the organization of the chart, where we have the lowest playable note in perfect fourth. So no matter where that root starts, key of C, it goes C, F, B flat, E flat, okay, A flat, D flat, G flat, and then B, and then E, and then A, and then G, and then G, and then back to C. In perfect fourths, just circle of fourths. The key of the LPN, perfect fifths, goes in perfect fifths. So that we're not going to go through that right now. But that also works in keys. Easy rule, just set the LPN to C. Now people aren't, I know you're not down C tuned, but if you want, you know, like Cage. Cage is phrased in C. C, D, E, G, A is the word caged backwards, right? G, A, C. C, A, G, E, D. So it's caged, it's phrased in the words in the key of C, but if you wanted caged in the key of E, it'd be E, F sharp, G sharp, B, C sharp. But it's not that system. It's the C, A, G, E, D system. You know, backwards it would be E, C sharp, B, G sharp, F sharp, E. It's not that system. It's the Cage system, because it's phrased in C. So we look at things in C. So easy rule, LPN equals C. The key is one of the 12 tones. Example, the key of 5 flat would be the key of G flat or F sharp if the LPN was C. That'd be like if a normal guitarist, a normally tuned guitar, put the capo on the C note. Okay? If you put the capo on the C note, the LPN would be C. If you wanted to play in the key of G flat or F sharp from there, then you would find up here the key of 5 flat. We'll just scoot over to it right there. And this is the key of 5 flat. This is the box for the key of 5 flat. LPN equals C. Okay, the key equals 5 flat. This would be what it would be like playing in G flat, which is nice. You have the accidentals are a pentatonic scale at that point. Okay, let's just finish up here in Kiner's Corner. This is the modal, the circle of modes. So each one of these columns, the columns goes around the circle of modes. So if we start on C major, we go C major, D minor, D major, D minor, E minor, E major. Okay, that's the fourth, and then the fifth would be G major. The sixth would be A minor. The seventh would be C